Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Radha Parisisvara Mandir, Prabhupada's transcendental book marathon teachers, Gita Jayanti, Jai. All glories to the assembled Lord, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Guru, and all glories to Sri Krishna Prestaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityananda. Namaste Saraswate Devi, Gauravani Prachadine, Nirvishesha Sanyavadi, Bhaktikari Sandhani. Krishna Krishna Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrindavan Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gora Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. So today, dear devotees, we're reading on from the section of the Adi Lila, chapter 10, text 43, maybe a few other verses, let's see. The one very famous for us today, in terms of hearing it regularly, although maybe those don't memorize it so much, but it's a very famous reading. Enough chairs and everything out there. You need some cushion on the chair. Austere chairs. Please take a seat if you need to rest your feet. Go back. Yesterday we heard about Vasudeva Datta and his unlimited compassion. And today, very related, very close to each other in some ways, we could say. There's a distinct link between these two personalities. Today we're going to hear about Srila Haridas Thakur. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur, who probably in our Krishna Consciousness movement is one of those acharyas who stands out very prominently. Of course, he was appointed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Namacharya, the teacher of the holy name. Nama Acharya, one who doesn't just teach but shows by practical example. He wasn't just telling people, chant, be happy, but he was chanting constantly. So we hear something about him now. Is, I believe, on the board. Text 43 is on the board. Haridas Thakuro Shakara Udbhuta Charita. Haridas Thakura Shakara Udbhuta Charita. Tina Laksha Namatenho Layena Apatita. Tina Laksha Namatenho Layena Apatita. Haridas Thakur Shakara Adbhuta Charita. Haridasa Thakura Shakara Adbhuta Charita. Tina Laksha Namatenho Layena Apatita. Tina Laksha Namatenho Layena Apatita. Haridas Thakur Shakar Adbhuta Charita. You don't pronounce the A at the end of the words, that's how it works in Bengali, unless it's the last word of the line or a long A. Haridas Thakur Shakar Adbhut Charita. Haridas Thakur Shakar Adbhut Charita. Tina Laksha, you can also pronounce it, but you don't need to. Tina Lakshnama Tenho Laena Pitita. Tina Lakshnama Tenho Laena Pitita. Haridas Thakur Sakara Adbhuta Charita. Haridas Thakur Sakara Adbhuta Charita. Tina Lakshnama Tenho Laena Pitita. Tina Lakshnama Tenho Laena Pitita. Haridas Thakur Shakar Bhutta Charita. Haridas Thakur Shakar Bhutta Charita. Tina Lakshnama Tenho Layena Pitita. Tina Lakshnama Tenho Layena Pitita. Haridas Thakura Sakara Bhutta Charita. Haridas Thakura Sakara Bhutta Charita. Tena Lakshanama Teno Layena Patita. Tina Lakshanama Teno Layena Patita. Haridas Thakura Shakar Adbhuta Charita. Haridas Thakura Adbhuta Charita. Tina Lakshanama Tenyo Layena Patita. Tina Lakshanama Tenyo Layena Patita.
Haridas Thakur Shakar Adbhuta Charita.
Haridas Thakur Shakar Adbhuta Charita.
Tina Lakshanama Teno Layena Pitita.
Tina Lakshanama Tenho Layena Patita.
Haridas Thakur Shakar Adbhuta Charita.
Haridas Thakur Shakar Adbhuta Charita.
Tina Lakshanama Teno
Dina Lakshana Laena Patita
Haridas Thakur Shakara Bhuta Charita
Haridas Thakur Shakara Bhuta Charita
Dina Lakshana Mateno Laena Patita
Dina Lakshana Mateno Laena Patita. Any ladies? Haridas Thakur Shakara Bhuta Charita Dina Lakshana Mateno Laena Patita Haridas Thakur. Of the name Haridas Thakur. Shakar. Of the branch. Adbhuta. Wonderful. Charita. Characteristics. Tida. These. Laksha. 100,000. Nam. Names. Tenho. Hey. Layena. Chanted. Apatita. Without fail. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The 20th branch of the Chaitanya tree was Haridas Thakur. His character was wonderful. He used to chant the holy name of Krishna 300,000 times a day without fail. That's counting each mantra of the Mahamantra, 16 names. 16 names. And that comes to a total of around about, if you call it exactly 300,000 names, it's not actually 192, it's 180 something. But it's understood he was chanting 364, so 192 rounds a day, more than 300,000 names that would come to. Purport. Certainly the chanting of 300,000 holy names of the Lord is wonderful. It's not within pretty much anyone's human being's capacity. No ordinary person can chant so many names, nor should one artificially imitate Haridas Thakur's behavior. It is essential, however, that everyone fulfill a specific vow to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Therefore, we have prescribed in our society that all of our students must chant at least 16 rounds daily. Minimum 16 rounds daily. Such chanting must be offenseless in order to be of high quality. Mechanical chanting is not as powerful as chanting of the holy name without offenses. Interesting sentence. If we take it literally, it means offensive chanting as obviously not so what's the word probably used? Powerful. Not as powerful as chanting without offenses. They say power. The power to cleanse the consciousness. The power to attract Krishna's attention. The power to spread Krishna consciousness. The power to awaken our love for Krishna. It's not physical power or mundane achievement of any kind. It's actually spiritual strength. And this is a key feature in our endeavors to practice Krishna consciousness. Every morning in pretty much every temple in ISKCON, the devotees recite the 10 offenses against the holy name. Maybe some exceptions, but more or less everywhere. Excuse me, my nose is a wee bit blocked, as it's been for the last week. And so much emphasis is placed upon it. Many of our acharyas made clear statements that simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord offensively, all other purposes served, all other results, Videshya Gesha Tapasachaiva Danesha Yat Punya Palam Padishtam, that all the purposes of the Vedas and all the results of every other kind of sacrifice, austerity, study, you name it, are achieved simply by Shudanam, or chanting the holy name without offense. So much emphasis is placed upon it. Thank you for the pracharas this morning for bringing Bhagavad Gita all over the altars here. Very nice. Baladev Sabada don't seem to have a very big quota. There's 3 of them. There's 3 of them.
4.
It's five.
How 5?
One behind the Panchatattva. One behind the Srimad, 2 behind the Srimad.
Maybe you cannot see my
I can't see. I can just see 2 books only. No, there's 3 of them, meaning there's Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra.
behind Panchatattva.
There's one, okay, well, hiding.
And on the side, Vishnudev.
Okay, so they got 4 books, and there's 3 of them.
5.
How many Radha Parisisvara?
10.
How many?
10 gitas.
10?
Yeah.
Well, there's kind of 3 of them. You've got Sheila Shalagram down the bottom there. Well, they've expanded themselves to increase their capacity, maybe there. Chota Radha Parisisvara there. But they've got the bhagavatam too. I'm glad to see it's the right way round. This morning at Mangalarti it was back to front. Still the bhagavatam, and we read it backwards. Maybe Chinese read it from the other way around. Well, Arabic people. No, Arabic people read the other way around.
Yeah.
And what Nitai Sachi Sudha, how many have they got? 9. 9 gitas, isn't it? They haven't got a very big quota. I think they should have a bigger quota than that, don't you? You have to follow in their footsteps, isn't it?
Arabic.
Pardon?
He is missing the Arabic Gita.
I don't know Arabic Gita. Yeah, where's the Arabic
He doesn't
Gita?
understand how to do point.
Arabic Gitas.
We have put one.
Where? Where's it? Where's the Arabic Gita? Hiding behind a picture?
Already distributed.
Oh, already distributed. Wonderful. Chankati. I don't think he read Arabic. He was from different line. Oh, Hare Krishna. Yeah, they look all set to go on Sankirtan today. I can't wait to get out the door. Jai Gornitai. So, we're hearing from Prahlad Maharaj yesterday also how he was emotional compassion. But first, compassion actually is only really the property of the pure devotees of the Lord. They alone know what real compassion means. We may have some references, some sentiments, some desires even, but realizations, or let's say the natural awakening of genuine compassion, that only comes in the heart of a pure sadhaka, pure devotee of the Lord. Not even a pure sadhaka, but one who has come to the stage of awakening their dormant love of Godhead. We follow in the footsteps of those who have such compassion, such devotion. And we heard yesterday from Prahlad Maharaj, in that regard, the process of following in the footsteps of the pure devotees of the Lord, Mahajana Yena Kataksa Panta, is our goal is love of God. There's no question that. Krishna Pamartha Mahan is our goal. But at the stage we're at right now, in most of our cases, at least in mine, the heart is full of anarthas. Anartha means anything separate from let's say, pleasing Krishna or pleasing Radharani. Anything separate. Material desires. Most of us are shrouded with a bombardment of various material desires, and sometimes we're attracted to this Trishna. We have a taste for this material objects, material taste, material sounds, material touch, material things, material thoughts, material smells, material forms. Still attracts our consciousness, or the soul. Is still allowing that attraction there to the objects of Trishna. This is one almost all pervasive in this universe. Even Lord Brahma, at least he was demonstrating that, had an attraction towards his own daughter Vak. This is pretty much major, let's say, blockage. There are others too, of course. Hridaya Dobhalya. Our heart, weakness of the heart. It doesn't sound a very heavy thing. Oh, I've got a weak heart. Oh, what can I do? But it's not just as simple as that. It refers to the very presence of envy or duplicity and the desire for recognition. Pretty much every living entity wants to be recognized. We see ourselves in the center. We have a tendency to be envious of others for different reasons. Everything from meat eating to jealousy and this, that, the other, so many things, to the point where you like to kill somebody. Envy is the root, one could say, the root of our being in this world. Envy of Krishna. Hridaya Bhali. Everyone is, let's say, infected by this anartha. Whether we know it or not. We wouldn't be in this state if we weren't. Pure devotee has no envy of any living entity because he sees everything as Krishna's presence, and also we could say Krishna's property. There's nothing to be envious of. If we are envious, it means we're envious of Krishna. It's reflected in this world as envy of each other maybe, but ultimately it means we're envious of Krishna because everything is simply an expansion of Krishna. So if we're envious of a living entity in this world, it means we're envious of Krishna. If in any way we want to be recognized, it's also another aspect of Hridaya Dobhalya. Of course, that's going to be there. We don't immediately come to the pure platform, but we have to recognize these as faults. We have to recognize these tendencies or these desires or these state of our consciousness as being a block. In other words, we're still offensive. So there's the other aparad, of course. There's various kinds of aparad. Namaparad. What other aparads are there? Namaparad we've already heard this morning. What other kind of
Vaishnava
Huh?
Vaishnava
Vaishnava aparad, which is inclusive also, in at least partially inclusive, within the Namaparas, to blaspheme those devotees and so on. But there are many aspects to Vaishnava aparad. But it's practically the biggest aparad in terms of Krishna doesn't tolerate Vaishnava aparad. That's something which you can approach Krishna if you're performing Namaparad, if you're under the influence of Namaparad. But if you commit Vaishnava aparad, Krishna will not forgive you. The famous story of Devasa Muni illustrates this point. He even approached Krishna himself when Narayan said, "There's nothing I can do to help you. You've offended my pure devotee. Only he can forgive you, and only then I would forgive." Gopal Chakravarti. All these personalities are in that category. Vaishnava aparadis. And obviously there's a tendency of this in our lives too. What other aparads are there? Pardon? What is that?
Dhamma.
Okay, Dhamma Parad. We can get into minor details. This is not a minor detail, it's quite a big one, but it's definitely an aparad. Dhamma. It comes under one of the other major categories, but it is definitely a significant one. Dhamma Parad. Even in the temple. We commit offenses to the deities, commit offenses to other devotees, etc., etc. in the Dham. You have to be very careful not to speak of the actual, let's say, expansive forms of the Dham that we have an opportunity to associate with vrindavan, mayapur, and so on. We all know how important it is to avoid offenses in the holy Dham, that they're magnified 1,000 times. Devotees are usually very careful. Not recommended if one's offensive to stay too long in the holy Dham. Even the temple, in one sense. A little bit more lenient, we could say, no doubt about that, especially in Paris. But same time, we should understand, this is not just a place to stay. This is the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the reason we're in the material world is because we're not accepting that. And what another aparad? Pardon? Seva aparad. There are numerous seva aparads. You can read them in Nectar Devotion, some of them. It's inevitable that we're going to commit seva aparad. I saw a devotee brushing his teeth outside the bathroom yesterday. I was shocked. Absolutely shocked. I felt like running to the River Seine immediately and diving in. What if some of his spray touched me when he's brushing his teeth? My God, I'd be finished. Condemned to hell or something. You read certain things, strict rules. As one of our godbrothers said one time, significant ago, he studied all these things. He said, actually, if you followed strictly, nobody would get out of the bathroom. Before you left, you've already contaminated yourself, and you have to again take a bath. You touch your nose, you touch your ear, you touch your toe, you touch the dirty doorknob. Back in the shower, boy. Unlimited, these things. No, these are not so much. They're persons who are, especially those on the path of, let's say, rules and regulations, karma kandya, and said, oh, sorry. Someone else like to give class, I just touched my nose. I can't carry on. I can't touch the bhagavatam or CC now. Think of anything else. I just have to suspend my arm in the air there for the rest of the class. There's so many various details, and some people are really into this, and they make this like the goal, but they're meant to assist, they're not meant to obstacles. Save apparatus, but we should try as much as we can to avoid them. But it's inevitable they will happen. Save apparatus. So mostly in relation to the deity we see them listed. Those who are performing deity worship, obviously they're going to take them more to heart, more seriously probably than others. Be very clean, very quiet on the altar. You don't wear this, you don't wear that, although Prabhupada wasn't so strict on these things. And even that you go to the Radha temple in Vrindavan, where Prabhupada told the devotees to go in the beginning to understand how to worship the deity. And there in the Radha temple, you see in the winter the pujaris are all wearing big jumpers, and big socks and hats. Big jumpers. It's cold. Don't be, you've got to use your common sense. And socks, right? I kind of laugh when everyone takes their socks off to do Tulsi Puja. It's nice. It's recommended, but it's not a compulsory factor. And then on the altar you see the devotees wearing socks. They take the socks off to do Tulsi Puja. Okay. Guru Puja. No problem. You can or you can't. It's not like a hard and fast rule. But anyway, the more the merrier, the more we can be conscious of Krishna and try to behave in a way which is pleasing to Krishna. That's the idea. Doing things nicely, regulated, clean, preparing the food that Krishna wants, that he likes to eat. These different items are probably a little bit more important than just all the teeny little details. And what other apparatus are there? We've got, 3 or 4.
Jiva apparat.
Oh, Jiva. Offensive to Jiva Pram. That's the major one. Don't you dare commit an offense to Jiva Pram. If your life will be hellish. You won't know what's hit you. What is Jiva Apparat? What do you mean?
Offense to living entities.
Pardon?
Offense to living entities.
Literally speaking, you just say that. We'll put that into, what does it mean then? Put it into practical terminology.
Everyone, insects, trees, insects, animals.
Pardon?
Everyone who is living like trees, insects, animal, or
There you go. That's one practical way, isn't it? We cut them down because they annoy us. We smash them because they annoy us. We might be annoying them, by the way, as well, when we smash them to pieces or cut them down. This tendency to not think of the welfare of others is, again, is related, of course, to the previous Vidaidomhalya. To see oneself as the center and everything should be adjusted for me. What else can be seen as Jiva Himsa? Huh? Envy of other living entities. Of course, it's again related to Vidaidomhalya.
Not preaching to them.
There we go. This is at least, it's, of course, for the majority of people, there's no question of preaching. Nobody's going to preach something rather mundane. But for those who have medicine and they don't deliver it when the need is there, this is very bad, even in the material sense of the term. It just immediately comes to mind, although I don't know what the actual facts are, but there was a history of the sinking of the Titanic. And apparently there was one ship, so they claimed, that was in range and didn't come to help. So for almost 100 years, this was a case of, yes or no, was it right or wrong, and so on and so forth. It was considered a great crime if you're in a position to help in a situation like that and you're the captain of the ship and you don't do it. You're held responsible for that. It's an offense. It's a crime. Because you had the means to do it and you didn't do it. Anyway, I don't know if it was true or not, but that's what the case was. And as far as a doctor is concerned, same thing would apply. They didn't do their duty. So, like that, we have a duty. We have a duty. Duty? What do you say here? Duty or duty? Is it a duty or a duty? Pardon? Which is it? Duty or duty?
the first one.
Duty.
Yeah.
Okay, it's duty. It's not duty. Some people say duty, some people say duty.
Not eating prasada also.
Huh?
Not eating a prasada.
Not
Offense to
eating
the
prasada.
jiva who lives in the body.
Well, that's a pretty technical perspective, that one. You're offending the jivas in all your cells if you don't feed them prasadam. So you better eat more prasadam. You better eat more because they're hungry. A hungry cell is an angry cell. Yeah, well, it's a nice mentality, nice meditation. Okay, well anyway, back to preaching. We have the opportunity, so the details may vary from person to person, place to place, but the principle is we have to give what we've got. share what we've been given. This is the principle. If we don't, we're not Brahmin, we're miser. We have to try to share it at least. We may not be very expert. Try. Try to pass it on, whatever we received. Prasadam, books, philosophy, practice, whatever we can. Try to pass it on. Try to share it. Keep it. It doesn't disappear when you pass it on. You know, some people, you've got money, for instance. Mundane things are a little different. You give someone the money, you don't have it anymore. I give you 10 euros, I don't have that 10 euros, you've got it. But in Krishna Consciousness, you pass this on. You get more, you get 10 times. You give 10, you get 100. And we get more, you certainly advance like that. This is the process of becoming Krishna conscious. Pass this message on to others. And Haridas Thakur, I suppose we can speak on this for weeks. There's no end to the topics of Haridas Thakur. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the house of Srivas Pandit and the Mahaprakash Pasa. When he was, during that time, he called up all of his devotees one by one. And he started to glorify them as if he had thousands of them. At that time, Haridas wasn't particularly well known by all the devotees because he'd been staying in Shantipur, Puglia, with near Advaitacharya, and was not familiar to the Navadvip devotees. Only Advaitacharya and a few others knew him well. They may have seen him, but not really knew his greatness. So Lord Chaitanya then called him. He was in the night during or day, whatever, during this pastime, and he began to glorify Haridas Thakur like nothing, like no one else practically. On and on and on. Glorify. Everyone was astonished and stunned to hear it. Said even Ananta Shesh couldn't have kept up. Such a glorification. Unlimited. The Vaishnavas' qualities like Krishna are unlimited. He cited one particular example. Was Haridas Thakur Namacharya. We read in Harinam Chintamani very much expansion of these offenseless chanting, how to come to offenseless chanting. And one of the keys there is dasa aparada jena vidhaya. That Dara, is it gone? Who knows? My memory is slipping. Anyway, Kripakari Mahaprabhu. I've forgotten the verse I knew. Beautiful prayer of Haridas Thakur. Namacharya is giving us a prayer. And it means oh Mahaprabhu, please, when I chant your holy name, may the 10 offenses not affect me, and may I be absorbed in pure namaras, pure chanting of the holy name. He prays like that. He's giving us example. It's very difficult to control the mind. Very difficult to avoid. We're so conditioned. The tendencies to think something offensive of some kind or another, or to be completely, not just detached from the objects of the senses, but attached to Krishna. We lack some bandhagyan, we lack the basic understanding. We're sitting here chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Are we realizing that this is actually we're directly associating with Krishna in his Namarup? Maybe the thought comes occasionally, maybe not. Do we remember that we're eternal servants of Krishna? Do we remember that our objective goal is to please Krishna? Are we conscious? Radha and Krishna are right there with us, always of course, but they're actually manifest in sound vibration. This is our time to associate with them. How much advantage we're taking, I do not know. I know my own situation to some degree, but everyone has to ask himself. This is our purification comes from association. 10%. This is our chance to associate with Radha and Krishna. The goal of our life, that's our goal. And they so kindly have manifested themselves in this way to give us this opportunity. There's only a block between us and them. We've already mentioned the various categories of anarthas at least. We simply have to remove the clouds from our heart. And then, if one is inclined to Vaishnava, if one understands the Sambandha Gyan as given by the Vaishnavas, then one's natural attraction to Krishna will evolve. Just natural. The natural qualities of a Vaishnava will manifest. Because the purified soul automatically has these characteristics, these qualities. Not something which you get from somewhere else. They're intrinsic. They're part of the living being's conscious nature. They're just perverted into this material world right now. Remove the perversions and then pure soul's qualities manifest, shining more brightly than thousands of suns sometimes before. It's very difficult, no doubt, but by the mercy of the Lord, and especially by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, by the mercy of Haridas Thakur, and these pure devotees, it's possible to become free. Not by endeavor alone. We make endeavor, but by mercy. We have to beg for that mercy, as Bhakti Yoga Thakur said. It is impossible for the jiva to single-handedly overcome the illusion of inattention. Another blockage is this illusion that we suffer. Tattva Brahma. This illusion of the truth. We're in illusion as to our own nature, the nature of God, the process of developing a relationship with Him, and the various tattvas. We're in illusion. We have some either no idea or perverted one. So this is another illusion. The illusion of inattention. We think that's good. We're attracted to it maybe, overwhelmed by it. It's impossible for the jiva to individually or independently overcome this illusion of inattention. It's only possible by the mercy of the Lord. No other way. Only by the mercy of the Lord. We're not. We're not. This material energy is very powerful. We're very weak. We have to take shelter of the source of that material energy. Power, most powerful. Supreme Personality of Godhead. The process, of course, we try to avoid the 10 offenses, as Prabhupada said here. Mechanical chanting is not as powerful as pure chanting or offenseless chanting. Try every way we can, but we've also got to realize that whatever effort may be there, that's okay. To be conscious of that and trying our level best. But ultimately we have to beg, cry for the mercy of the Lord. Bhakti Yoga Thakur says, therefore one must fervently cry or pray. It means basically like crying almost to the Lord for His help. There is no other way of becoming free. When the Lord bestows His mercy upon us, then takes away that curtain, reveals Himself to the aspiring Lord. Hare Krishna. So Haridas Thakur is the emblem of pure chanting. It's hundreds and hundreds of statements are there. And who is he? What is his identity is another fascinating topic. How these eternal associates take various roles in the Lord's pastimes. We sometimes see it the other way, that they become those personalities, rather those personalities become, not those, like for instance, Drona and Dara, we hear in the bhagavatam, how they became Yasoda and Nanda. But they don't become Yasoda, they're already Yasoda and Nanda. They take a role of Drona and Dara, they expand as Drona and Dara. And when the original Nanda and Yasoda appear with Krishna in his pastimes, they enter back into that form. For various reasons, the eternal associates expand for the Lord's purposes. So, pure devotees like Haridas Thakur is not by any means an ordinary living entity. He's a namacharya. Again and again we see it. It says, whenever I incarnate, you appear to help me. You appear to help me. To assist me in my pastimes in various ways. And the primary way that when Lord Chaitanya was glorifying Haridas Thakur, just to make it very simple, he emphasized something which nobody knew about actually, because this pastime took place either before the advent of Lord Chaitanya or before Haridas Thakur literally met Lord Chaitanya. Well, it doesn't clearly say because there's no historical record, but the pastime took place before the devotees, before Lord Chaitanya manifested his Sankirtan movement, that's for sure. Because Lord Chaitanya said, because of this pastime, I accelerated my appearance. So generally one understand that means literal appearance. It could mean appearance of the Sankirtan, but we generally take it as being his literal appearance in the world. And we all know the pastime, perhaps not all, but most of us have heard it, of when Haridas Thakur was beaten in the marketplaces by the servants or the assistants of the Nawa, who were ordered to beat him to death because he was chanting the holy name, became a Hindu, something like that. Born a Muslim. Again, purposeful arrangement of the Lord. The Lord told Lord Brahma that I want you to take birth now in this form. One aspect of his identity. So that I can fulfill my purpose is to show that anyone, no matter what birth they are, can become a pure devotee of the Lord. It's nothing to do with caste or creed or religion or whatever. It makes no difference. Everyone is eligible. So Haridas was the perfect example of that. And when he was being beaten and beaten and beaten to 22 marketplaces, no one survived more than 3 ever before. They dragged him through 22 marketplaces. Whipping, beating, dragging. People were crying and screaming, stop, stop, but they would not listen. And they reached the last marketplace in the region, and they were the guards, the soldiers, whatever they were absolutely exhausted. They were totally shattered. And Haridas was smiling, seemingly completely undisturbed, chanting constantly the holy name, Nirantara Namalao. And Dhammadas Thakur says this is the prime lesson to learn in this pastime, to always chant the holy name no matter what happens. Of course you have to do other things, obviously you can't speak another thing at the same time, but whenever there's a spare time, Bhaktivinoda says, we should chant the holy name. That's the fulfillment of Kirtaniya Siddha Hari Nirantara Namalam. Just don't waste time. Chant as much as we can. So Haridas Thakur, why was he smiling? Was he proud? Well, you could say he's in ecstasy. chanting the holy names. Focused. Attention focused on the Lord, and the mercy of the Lord. There's more to it. They were shattered. And of course then Haridas Thakur asked them why they looked so worried. They were worried because they thought they'll get punished now because they failed to do their duty. Why didn't you tell me before? I would have died immediately if my living causes you pain. Again, same mood as we heard from Vasudeva. Mood of a Vaishnava, only thinking of the welfare of others. He knew Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu blessed. Divine mercy. He was thinking of the welfare of those persons beating him. Please have mercy on them. Please be kind to them. He was feeling like this. And primarily, we don't, of course, have quite the extreme as he went through, you could say, but it's a bit like that sometimes. When you go out to distribute books, sometimes people are quite, well, we feel that they're being offensive. Well, what do? Get angry? You tolerate. You pray for their welfare. Maybe we don't go that far. Well, we thank them for purifying us, helping to free us from these anarthas, seeing ourselves the enjoyer and the center and so on. Not easy, but at least we can remember these things. Everyone's guided by Krishna, it's not happening by chance. Krishna knows what we need. He puts us in different situations, sometimes seemingly favorable, seemingly unfavorable. But he knows what we need. They're all favorable if we see it with Krishna central. There's no unfavorable situation. Every situation is an opportunity to preach or to take shelter of Krishna. Show by example. Preaching is not words. Preaching is primarily by our living example. Words are part of it, but primarily by our example, showing the path, showing the behavior, showing the way to evoking Krishna's mercy. This is preaching. And there are, of course, many details there in terms of our connection with the pure devotees of the Lord, and our taking shelter as our life and soul, the pure devotee, to guide us on that path. The devotee accepts the instruction of the spiritual master as their life and soul. Like it or lump it. Srila Prabhupada has given general process to evoke Krishna's mercy, Mangalarti, Japa, class. These are practical sadhanas, applications, and then details, becoming pure in our chanting, all the other things which we touched upon. And then practical service. In the beginning we might be choosy, we might be discriminating. The pure devotee does whatever you want from me, my Lord. Whatever service you give me, whatever pleases you. That's devotion. At least from our perspective, this is practical understanding. Whatever you want, my Lord, please ask me. This is how love is awoken. By finding out what the object of their love is, or who they are, and what they want, and then doing it. What do they want? What can I do to please you? How can I serve you? Prabhupada says the only question he ever asked his spiritual master, how can I serve you? So that's the only real question we need to ask. How can I serve you? But we have to be willing to do what they say, not just, how can I serve you? Well, you can serve me by going to Siberia, no, Siberia's open house. You can please me by going to France, okay? Going to France and preaching Krishna consciousness. Oh, Guru Maharaj, can you give me something else to do besides that, please? I don't think that's good for me. I've heard too many stories about France. It is. It's what the devotee was saying to me. Not a devotee from here, but a devotee from another country who's been in France. I can't remember what it was, just yesterday or the day before. Forgot. I think it was on the train, actually. Yes, it was. Aditi. Some of you know Aditi. And she said, I know how difficult it is for devotees to come and stay in France. No, you've got to be very strong. You've got to be very surrendered. Stay. Because many of you are born here. Some of you have chosen to come here. Wonderful. It's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice. What for? What for? You're not attached to the Eiffel Tower? Boys, they like the girls or something? What are we attracted to? Champs-Élysées? Definitely. Châtelet-Léal.
Yes.
You can't live without Châtelet-Léal. Every day you have to go there to purify yourself. Holy place. Holy Dham. It's a holy Dham. Or is it a damn hole? Holy Dham or damn hole? Both, maybe. Depends what you do. It's a big hole. Yeah, it's sacrifice, isn't it? We don't know the outcome. Prabhupada didn't know the outcome when he went to America. He said himself, he said, he didn't know. Well, he never expected it. We read that the other day. Prabhupada said he never expected this movement would spread like this. Yes, I'll try. He never expected. We try. We're not very intelligent, not very pure, or very advanced, but at least we can try something. Try to spread a little book here and there, or some prasadam, or be nice to somebody and try to attract them to Krishna consciousness. Somewhere or another, try to please Krishna. This is his house. This is his house. Try to serve the Vaishnavas. Try to serve the jivas. Serve the deities. Serve the holy name. Following the footsteps of Haridas Thakur, Haracharya, Namacharya. We're so fortunate we got so many acharyas. So many wonderful acharyas. And today we're here in Namacharya, Haridas. So let us chant the holy name today and every day in that memory of Haridas Thakur. Pray for his mercy. Try to chant offenselessly. Everything else will come. Everything else will come. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Parisisvara